What is up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Hobby Hotline Overtime, the Tuesday night show of Hobby Hotline. And as always, my name is Drew, or the DH, and joining me today, we've got 1 million Cubs, Mr. Bo Thompson. What's up, man?
Hello.
And also joining me today, we have the one and only Suze. How you doing, Suze?
Good, thanks. How's it going?
It's going good. I just finished up with a baseball game, so doing good. Busy day, but a lot of fun. But hope everybody's doing well. You guys have a good weekend. Good Mother's Day and everything. Mother's Day weekend.
I got puked on, so it was
Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah. I was like, oh, thanks. I didn't need that gift today, but
right.
Was there a record-setting Suze card on auction this past weekend?
Oh,
I do think it actually set the record.
Really?
Let me see. Let me check my card ladder because
what did it sell for? If I didn't see that, what did it sell for?
221.
Nice.
Like pulling it up now.
Very nice.
I know who won it, and I can confirm it was not anybody related to me. After they won it, they let me know, and I was like, but why? I'm like, I would have sent you one. And I'm like, you didn't have to buy it. But
right.
And it wasn't. Here's the thing about the card. It wasn't even the framed card that they put in the product, right? So like every year, Topps picks 10 employees randomly. It was Dean. Eric is asking who puked on me. It was Dean. So every year, Topps picks 10 random employees to be in the product, right? You take 10, and then they take 10 cards, you sign them, they put them in the product, and they get to go. And then they give you 50 unframed cards of like the little minis, and then you could do whatever you want with them. So I got them, and that year at the National, I signed a bunch and for people there and gave them out. And that's what somebody sold. And it bothered me because I was like, I gave that to you. Right? Like, I don't know who it was, but I'm like, how dare you sell that card I gave you?
Yeah, I always wondered how people felt because I see like the NFL player family edition cards, that they get at the premiere. I see those a lot of times online, and I always wonder if he's like, yo, dude, like, come on now. That was a present.
It made me sad. Like, I was like, why? But I mean, if they need the money, good. Like, oh my gosh, it's sold for $220.
Right?
So
yeah.
Congratulations. If you needed that money, well, then good for you. I'm hoping it went to a good cause.
Absolutely. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. And congratulations, whoever got it. That's a really cool one. What's going on, everybody? So what's up to everybody in the chat? The King, Logan Ward. What's going on? Jenny Miller. Those back pages. Chris Harris. What's going on, everybody, and everyone else? Please make yourself known in the chat, and going to put the link here in the comments. Please would love to have you guys call in, join the show. If you have any questions, comments, anything about anything going on in the hobby that you'd like to talk about, or any questions that you have, we would love to answer them if we can. So I guess we'll start out tonight, guys. We had a little bit of interesting news today, or as Bo was saying, is it news? As we were talking earlier before we got on the air, but PSA did announce that their economy service is opening. So they are opening up economy, at least to all the Collectors Club with no limit, it looks like. And from my understanding, they weren't going to do that until they were 100% certain that they could meet, I believe it's 90 days on every single card. So that should give you a pretty solid understanding of where they are, with everything right now. I know all my new subs are going fast, and all my old subs are starting to move, as I do think they are taking a good chunk out of that backlog. But what do you guys think of PSA economy services opening back up?
Well, so full disclosure, I've never submitted a card for grading to any company, sure. PSA, right. Beckett, SGC, any of the others. But I do, obviously, I follow, the news, and I follow the backlog, and, many other people do submit. So I followed this, and when I saw the announcement, the tease on Monday about the announcement, I was I was kind of geeked up to see
Right.
what type of news it was going to be. And then when I read the press release earlier today, it just kind of, it was just kind of a letdown, like, oh, okay. So, and that's what I asked you, off stage before the show, is this big news? So and I ask that as someone who, is not in the mix submissions, is this
Right.
something for people who do submit to PSA? Is this news? Is this big news?
What do you think, Suze?
It's good to hear. I mean, full disclosure, my company I currently work for is owned by Collectors, who
Right.
owns PSI. So good news that they're opening up this another level, and not just like for the sort of raffle they were doing, because it means like things are opening up a little bit, and you'll be able to get cards graded that you've been hoping to get graded on a lower level. Because I don't know for sure. I'm not that in tune with it, but I feel like maybe people who have been waiting to grade cards, especially for their registry, perhaps were waiting for lower prices to do that. So I think for those people, it's good news. I mean, bad news would have been like, hey, we need to hold off submissions because things are getting crazy again. But it's not. It's like it's slowly, and probably slower than maybe some people would like, but slowly they're getting there, and I think that's news.
No, I completely agree. As someone that works with a very large bulk submitter, one of PSA's biggest, I deal with this a lot, and price deductions are coming. You just got to wait a little bit longer, and value will be open eventually. It's getting there as well, but like they said, they will not open it until they know they can meet. Even the horde that's going to come flooding in, they're not going to do anything if they can't meet the set goals for their timeframes anymore. I think what they've done, splitting up the two teams where one team's grading new cards, another team's grading the backlog, I think has been wonderful. I think it's helped them get through it quite a bit. And you're seeing that right now. And so all this shows me is it's a step forward, and it gives, the raffle made it almost impossible for anybody to get into. And you had to have all these exclusives, to even be able to get into it for the most part. So opening that back up opens up not only a whole new customer base, but also a whole new level of card to be graded that a lot of people might not be doing before, that lower end stuff that's not worth $100, $150 a card. But now, you've got an option to where it's there. And also taking away the restriction and letting all the value come in is very similar to what they did when they opened up regular. And so that shows me that value's a lot closer to coming back than before, and value's estimated at coming back around $25 or so. So, the days of affordable stuff are coming back, it looks like. And so I can't take this as anything but good news as someone that grades.
Yeah, much like Bo, I don't actually grade cards. So it's like, oh, cool.
Right. No, I completely understand it. Hoping for value. Yes, Logan, absolutely. That's what I'm hoping for as well. I know that's been the plan for a long time. I think this announcement is a good one. Like you, Bo, I thought the announcement was going to be something maybe a little bit bigger, something a little different. I thought they would have just casually announced this instead of like making a big tease and everything, making a big deal about it. But hey, that's cool, whatever, whatever works. But I think it's good for the hobby. I think it's good to get, everything jump started. And, I don't see anything bad about it, at least.
Yeah, it feels good to think like things might return to normal in general. And I'm not just not just for PSA, but just like in general, like things are going to return to normal in this hobby. And by normal, I mean cards will never, you're not going to get wax for cheap anymore. But, there's some normalcy by opening up these things. And it's like, okay, like we could get back to a point that doesn't feel so crazy all the time.
Yeah, and I think going to what Drew you said, it is good news because it's progress. It's PSA making progress, but I think that's why I was a little kind of deflated when I read the actual press release, because it did seem like it was going to be maybe a little something more. So, even though it is good news, I think maybe I was thinking, assuming it might be, a little better, maybe a small price reduction or, something else along those lines. So, I think that's, maybe why the news didn't really hit me this afternoon when I read that, was because I was kind of, might have been expecting a little bigger news maybe.
Yeah, no, I agree completely, especially with the promotion behind it. And as Chris Harris says, he still has his unframed Sue's auto. I got to get one of those unframed ones. I gotta get one of those for the collection. Oh yeah, we'll definitely be there. Quite a bit of us, I'm sure. But bonus hair flip from Sue's, yes, Logan, you got a bonus hair flip as well. But welcome, Victor. Everyone else, thank you guys for joining the show. Anthony, what's going on? Give us a call, guys. The link is in the chat. I'll put it in there again. Give us a call. Hit us up with anything that you, any questions you have, anything you'd like to talk about in the hobby. Please come join the show. Audio, video, doesn't matter. Or drop the questions in the chat. Either way, it doesn't matter. But one thing that did come out recently, Bo, and I know you. And Sue's being a big baseball fan, I know you guys probably were aware of this, but the Hall of Fame ballot coming out. It was just released, and actually, perfect timing on that cue. We're going to bring in somebody else, and that is Victor. What's going on, man? He's on delay, as we can hear.
I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I'm getting a lot of feedback here.
Yeah, we can hear you here.
Okay.
Maybe turn it down a little bit. I'm not sure. But yeah, we can hear you here.
Sounds good. How's everybody doing?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Well, I hear some PSA talk, but I'm with you guys. I'm not real excited.
You're not real excited? You're not real excited?
I wasn't impressed with the news today at all.
Yeah. I expected it to be bigger. Are you someone that grades cards? Do you grade a lot of cards?
I have ton. Yeah, that's my niche there. Graded
Okay.
card.
Yeah, that's me too. So it wasn't.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Do you have like the YouTube window open as well? Because if you have two windows open, it's gonna have that feedback.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about now? That's better.
There you go.
I had a YouTube window open. That's what it was.
Yeah, that'll do it every time. But,
all right. Yeah, I'm big time into graded cards. I have several set registries that I'm working on. Many of them already completed, but I've been holding on. I haven't sent anything in over a year, and just waiting for the prices to kind of stabilize. And I was kind of looking forward to the news today, but when I got the news, I felt a little let down. Wasn't really all that impressed with what was going on today anyways.
Yeah, I think that's where everyone was at. I think that was just kind of something that was expected. Like we said, it's progress. At least they're moving through everything. But when they made the big promotion and everything, I expected it to be something like value coming back or a reduction in economy, something that warranted that level of production from PSA, which is not normal for a small announcement like this. So, I guess maybe to them it was a little bit bigger, and maybe it is to the rest of the hobby. Let us know out there what you guys think. Is it a big deal to you guys? Maybe it is, and it's just not to us. But I was definitely a little let down by it. But right before you came on, we were talking about the Hall of Fame ballot. Hall of Fame ballot dropping today, and you in particular have a pretty close connection with this.
Yeah. Actually, it was something that was started by Ray from Philly. In 2018, he started it, and it seemed like it started gaining momentum. And so he brought Mike, This Baseball Card Life, and myself on and we kind of formed like a committee to kind of assist Ray with it. And last year, this thing really took off. We were able to get help from the community. We were able to get Dr. Beckett really loved the idea. and just the community really took off with it last year. We had close to 600 votes last year, and we basically create a ballot of baseball cards, and we allow the community to vote. They get up to 10 votes on a 40 card ballot, and we basically vote 10 cards into the Hall of Fame every year is what we've been doing.
Okay.
And it's something that's just it's fun, and we see a lot of top 10 lists from several hobby production, what am I saying, hobby like Mike Payne. He has his 300 cards
Right.
or 100 best cards of the 1980s, or the 300 greatest cards of this or that. And we've decided, well, what about how about if the hobby, or we as collectors, we created our own Hall of Fame? Because you get a lot of, well, why did they vote this card in? They shouldn't have voted that card in. They should have voted this card in. And so this really helps us generate a ballot that is created by the hobby.
Right.
And then the hobby gets to vote on which cards get inducted into the Baseball Card Hall of Fame. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it when I first heard of the concept in 2018. And it's just a fun exercise to do, really.
Awesome. So for those that aren't aware, where can they find the information and everything on the ballot and everything like that?
Yeah, the ballot's going to be, it's already, if you go on Ray from Philly's channel, the ballot is already there. It's going to be on my channel. I can actually send you the link, and I can send it to you, Drew, and you can put it on the footnotes of this video. But we basically created a ballot inside of Google Drive, and it's pretty nice. You get to just choose your vote and submit. It takes less than 2 minutes.
Nice. Awesome. So who are some of the people on the I don't want to give away the whole ballot and everything, but who are a couple people that made the list this year at least?
Oh my. Yeah, the list is pretty long. There's a lot of pre-war stuff. We try to keep a nice balance of, pre-war, vintage, and even some modern stuff in there to represent all eras, and a little something there for everybody.
Is there a Minnie Minoso or Gil Hodges or Buck O'Neill type of card that is just waiting for their day in the sun?
They're not on the ballot this year, but the ballot was created prior to their Hall of Fame inductions, but I'm sure they'll be in there next year. Bo, I gotta say hello to you. I am so sorry. And Suze, legends in the hobby. I see that 1968 Nolan Ryan back there, Suze.
Yeah,
I see you.
That was a gift I bought for my husband.
There you go.
For a birthday or something. I forget which one, but yeah.
Guys, there's the link in the chat to the ballot. If you would like to check out the ballot, the link is right there for you guys. So definitely check it out.
And Bo, I tell you, I have in the last month, I have been watching Bo's videos. I tell you, I've been binge watching his channel. Just great stuff. I love the I don't know. You got such connection with your community. You have so much you keep it positive. You just kind of bring us all into the conversation and a wide variety of topics. We're going to talk about scanners today. It's like you keep it so professional and so positive and so community based, man. You're doing a great job, dude. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, guys, definitely check out the link. We did, like I said, it is posted in the chat, and of course, call in, guys. We'd love to have you. We did have a question earlier, and Victor, feel free to hang out and chill as much as you'd like. But Brian Lowe had a question. Kind of goes along with what we were talking about with PSA. But what are our thoughts on DCI, Dallas Card Investors? For those unaware, DCI basically, like a Beckett raw card review, they'll look over your card, they'll put it in a card saver with a little quote unquote tamper proof seal on it, with grade, telling you about what they think it's going to grade. And now apparently they're moving a step further, and it looks like getting into the grading game and actually going to start doing actual grading. But what do you guys think about DCI? I'll lead it off. I've got my thoughts, but I want to hear what you guys have to say about them.
Well, I'll start. I'll show off my naivete, and my belief, and correct me if I'm wrong, that DCI is basically like a pre-grade. So if I have a card that I think that I don't know if I should submit to PSA, I submit it to DCI, and they say, oh, this is going to get an 8 or a 9. And then is the purpose to take then for the consumer to take that next step to submit it to PSA? Is that the purpose?
Yeah, for the most, I mean, if it's a high grade, I think, yeah, absolutely. That's what they're going for, is just to get it tested, just like a Beckett raw card review, where they just tell you, here's what the flaws with your card. But now it looks like they are actually going to be getting into physical encapsulation. And so if they start getting into actual grading, then that kind of changes their whole raw card review option, unless they keep that as well, because they'll be slabbing the cards just like PSA would.
Right. So initially, as it is now, I think it's a great service, because somebody like me, that I don't know the first thing about looking over a card, what's this going to grade? So I think having somebody that can review and if it sounds like that, I know of them, so I know that they're pretty well thought of. I think that's great. But yeah, as you mentioned, if they get into this, if they actually get into the grading game, then it kind of defeats the purpose of the raw card review, because then you bring in a conflict of interest. And but as it stands, how they have operated, I think that that's a good service to provide for somebody like me that doesn't know the first thing about which card I should submit for grading.
Yeah, Victor, what do you think?
I think, and I don't know much about it, but from what I'm hearing is I can see it's not for me.
Right.
I'm confident enough in looking at my own cards,
Yeah,
but I do acknowledge that there may be a need for that in the hobby.
Yeah, Suze?
I actually don't know anything about them. I can't really speak about it.
Sure. Yeah. Double D. Why? What? That one person asked right here. Why would anyone try and compete with PSA, SGC, CSG? That's what I was saying. Double D. That's kind of why I was saying, like, you have your niche of the raw card review, and I mean, I've been set up at the Mint Collective. We were set up right across from them, and they're always busy. At all the collective cons I've been to this year, they're always busy. So they've got their following. They have their niche. I think going and doing the grading and trying to expand like that is a little much, when I think you can take that technology and what you can do and use it in different ways and more innovative ways to maybe help the hobby and maybe help grading without adding another grading company to the mix. I think you'd probably be a lot more successful that way than trying to go head to head with these guys. But, I mean, we've seen what happened with HGA and everything, tried to go head and head. Didn't really work out too well. There is a complete restart going on with a couple of hobbyists that bought the company. We'll see what happens, but it seems to be the same thing, just different, same story, just a redo, if you will. But, I think they're shooting themselves in the foot by going into grading, Brian. But like you said, Victor, I totally understand the need for the service, because there are a lot of people that just don't understand what the grading companies are looking for if you don't grade cards. And I mean, you need to have heavy magnification. You need to be looking at a lot of different things besides, I see people's comments, that should be a PSA 10, and they're looking at a picture on Facebook that someone took with their camera. I'm sorry, you can't tell a damn thing about a card through a picture on Facebook. Like there's so many different factors besides centering or, this little tiny little mark on the surface. There's a million different things that you can't even see without the proper lighting, etc. So, I understand the need for it. And I think it's, like I said, I think they had a good thing going. And I hope they, for their sake and their company's sake, I hope they kind of invest all that money into some new technology to maybe help the grading world as opposed to trying to compete with everybody else and just clogging the grading world up. I think everybody can agree the last thing we need is another grading company.
I can agree with that.
Brian, thank you so much for your question. Let's see. Do you like the way that Hail
Hey,
Mary's...
Drew, I'm gonna go ahead and pop off. I just wanted
Absolutely.
to come on and introduce myself, and
yes,
thanks for allowing me to be a part of this hotline. Just when I look at the names that are on here, and I'm like, wow, and I love the opportunity to be able to network with all of you. And I don't know everybody on the team, but those who I do know, I hold in very high regard and respect what everybody's doing, and I'm just glad to be a part of it. Real quick, Drew, and I'll bounce off. I started collecting in '81, and I quit in 2004. I came back to the hobby in 2014, and I really found myself confused, and I was confused with the rookie card because I remember how we did it in 81 through 2004. And when I came back, I was just very, very confused. And that just led me to do my research, do my homework. I became fascinated with the study of rookie cards. I ended up starting a blog in 2016, and that blog led to a YouTube channel in 2020. And here I am today. But just really the shenanigans that I feel that sometimes are played, and the confusion that so many of us have, and the debates and the confusion, and I just try to look at the past and look at the present so that we can gain a better understanding of what this rookie card is all about. And that's kind of my niche. It's kind of what I love to focus on. And I've had the opportunity to talk to a lot of guys on the team about rookie cards, and we have a lot of elder statesmen in the group that have helped me throughout the last several years, and grateful for their help and their guidance. And they'll tell me when I'm right, and they'll tell me when I'm wrong. So really enjoyed everybody's help with that. So other than that, I'm going to take off now. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. And welcome to the team, Victor. Guys, make sure to follow Victor over at Victor Roman Sr. over on Twitter and everything. And follow his YouTube channel and all that. And he is going to be a part of Hobby Hotline. So glad to have you on, man. I know we haven't had a chance to have a lot of interactions, but looking forward to it, brother. So
right on.
Thanks for calling in.
Don't forget to vote.
Yes. Don't forget to vote.
All right.
Have a good one, bud.
Bye, Bo. Bye, Sue.
See ya.
All right. And once again, guys, that is Victor Roman Sr., a new member of Hobby Hotline. If you guys did miss it, we did add a couple of new members. We've got John posted, Mr. Newman posted our lineup card today. It shows the massive amount of people that are now a part of Hobby Hotline. It's pretty awesome to go back when it started, and it was me, Newman, and a couple other people to see a full page of everybody that's on the show now. It's awesome to see where it's gone. So thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in. Otherwise, it wouldn't be happening. But in the chat, I'm seeing a lot of people saying there's a different Carney vibe with DCI.
What's a Carney vibe?
Yeah, I know. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't get into. I'll say this: the only thing I know of them is their booths at shows. I know nothing about their social media. I know nothing about any presence they have online. They could have tons of shows and all that stuff. I don't know. But all I know is that they're busy at shows, and I think they have a little niche in the hobby, but I personally don't need it. But I can see how some people do. But there's also a lot of, bulk submitters and things like that you can go to. They'll just do the same thing for you. But Hammer Sports Cards, been listening to John, just started Hotline yesterday. Love it. Thank you. Welcome. Hope you enjoy the show. Hail Mary. Thanks for coming on. Yeah, we're pushing the salary cap, Cooter Lev. It's definitely getting big. But we'll keep expanding as much as we can because there's some amazing content creators out here and we love having them on the show. And I think it's really important, and I know John does too, to have as many different voices from as many different areas in the industry as possible, because I think that makes the best shows and the best interactions from everybody. But let's see here. We'll move on now to guys. I guess got a couple other things. Guys, please leave your questions. Anything in the hobby that got any questions about or anything, just let us know. But did you guys see what's going on with 2020 Formula One Topps Chrome? Have you guys seen the recent little quote unquote scandal that's coming out about it, or whatever you want to call it? With the 70th. All right. So it appears that the 70th edition parallels, you know how they had the 70th edition parallels that were in the set? Well, they all had a superfractor version, which, I mean, we would assume would be 101s, even though they weren't numbered. Well, by the pack odds and everything, it shows, we did the math and everything, and it actually showed that by the pack odds on the box, there should have been 202 out of 200 cards, meaning that maybe 2 got duplicated, or maybe they pulled those 2 out. Well, then it came to light that these at least 2 cards had been found to have 2 superfractors, 2 101s. So we figured they found those 2 extra cards and it made sense. But now a third 70th edition superfractor card has come out. So the pack odds aren't lining up with what's on the box. And now, are we looking at every single 70th card having 2 superfractors? I mean, it's pretty interesting and a little different, but I mean, with the pack odds on the box, there was no retail option. So, it's pretty easy to figure out by doing the math. It states that there's should be only 1 superfractor, yet we get 2. So, I don't know if you guys have heard about it or if you have any thoughts on it at all.
Is it an exact duplicate? Is it?
It's the same card. Card.
I guess my question, and I don't know, Sue's working, with your top background. Do they make just in case there's damage? I've heard they've made extras, or is there a possibility that they made multiple, or a second superfractor of each card, and somehow they slipped into packing?
I mean, everything is possible, because I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's humans that are doing the work. People are going to make mistakes, even as much as it's automated, like, people are going to make mistakes. Do they make extras for like damage? Yeah, they do. Like, there's extras that are made for damages. So, and at times they actually hold some back too, like for let's say, like, there's 200 cards, maybe 1 or 2 get held back for damages, so that if like somebody's superfractor gets damaged, they can replace it with another superfractor,
right.
Not of the same player and not of the same athlete. But I don't know, mistakes happen, like, and it's not great. And like Eric is saying, like the Ginter Woodmanis, like nobody knows where they are, like they've disappeared. So
now with it,
I don't
know. No, since with your background in Topps, with it being now that these cards are there, do you think that those cards simply more than likely just replace the base card, or is the whole pack odds and everything completely, if those are wrong, then does that mean there's, that many more boxes out there?
I have no idea. Every situation would be completely different then. Like, so if like something like this happened with a different product, unless there's like something wrong with the machinery, there's no correlation between one product to another if there was a similar mistake. Like they would have to actually do an investigation to figure out what happened.
Gotcha. It's interesting because that 2020 F1 Chrome is such an iconic box. It kicked off the whole craze of everything, and they didn't number them, so they never told you that they were one of ones. You just assumed the superfractor, and they listed it as the very last parallel, so you just assumed the superfractor was a 101. So I guess they never were specific saying it was a 101, but it does appear that there are two out there. We've seen a couple of them come out. We'll see what else happens and if anything else comes out, but pretty interesting to say the least.
Were they made by Topps US or Topps UK?
It was made in the Italian plant. It was that Italian printing facility. It was the product that had all the damage on all the back of the numbered cards, and all the base cards have like a gash on the back. PSA 10 is just about impossible, but it was made overseas. It was printed at the overseas plant.
Yeah, because it is weird that they weren't serial numbered. That is weird.
Yeah, all the top 70th editions weren't serial numbered. They had the same parallels as the regular cards. They just had the 70th logo, and then none of the parallels, even though they mimicked exactly like Gold Wave, Gold, everything down to a T. They just weren't numbered, but everyone assumed, not assumed at like the high numbered stuff, but when you got down to the orange, the reds, the supers, everyone assumed there was, relatively the same amount. And from what we had seen, there was, and it's just now that any of these duplicates are coming up. But it is interesting to see some duplicates come out of the set, something else that just makes it a weird set. And if so, there's so much of this wax that hasn't been opened. If that's the case, then there's a massive amount of supers. If all of those cards do have a second super, there's a ton of supers in all those unopened boxes. And so I'd assume boxes we might see go up quite a bit. What do you guys think? Do you think we'll see an increase in box prices because of something like that, or?
Well, if they're not rare, then I guess it wouldn't be, because then it's like, oh, my superfractor isn't as rare as I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's just how I think, like the logical way of thinking. It shouldn't be more money if the cards aren't as rare as I thought they'd be.
Right. What about you, Bo? What do you think? Do you think the added chase of possibly having, even though maybe it's not a 101, it's at a 2, maybe, having that second chance to get a Lewis Hamilton?
I think so. I think there would be, because your odds are a little bit better, and so there's that chase, and even in reality, where yes, it could water the 1 of 1 down, because now we know there's 2, but your odds are increased, and it's still the allure of a superfractor,
right.
And I think that could increase the demand from F1 collectors and or people that are chasing those cards, to where all of a sudden there's a race. It's we as hobbyists, and I'm just as guilty as the next collector, sometimes we don't think rationally when it comes to purchases like this and chasing new products. I know I can a new shiny Cubs autograph comes out in bulk this week. I want it now, even though I know I'm going to pay half in 6 months or 3 months, but I have to have it now. And I think that could be along the same lines of thinking when there's my odds are even better to pull a superfractor, when in reality there's double the amount, and it could water down the actual market on those superfractors, but we have an increased chance to pulling one.
Yeah, I just think it's so crazy. The product's been out so long, and we're just now seeing this. Like you would have thought, out of all the breakers and all the stuff that was getting ripped, especially when the second wave kind of hit and it really took off again, that none of these were put together, that like 2 Lewis Hamiltons were pulled or something like that, or maybe they haven't been yet. Maybe it is just a couple. But so far there's been 3. Hopefully it's not all of them. I hope it's just a couple of them, but we'll see what happens. And yet another little intriguing backstory to the F1 cards. That's a very interesting card set, from all the print problems to all the just issues with the rookie card logo, all the way to now multiple different colors. It definitely has had its fair share of different little scandal, quote unquote, going on. Canton Card Collector says there'll always be a buyer for these cards regardless of the high pop count. Absolutely, Canton, 1000%. This is a landmark set in the beginning of, at least in my opinion, a massive market. I don't know what you guys think about the F1 market, but I think it's going to continue to grow quite a bit in the near future. And 2020, I think, is always that 2020 Topps Chrome and probably Dynasty as well are going to be looked at really as the turning point, in the beginning of that hobby, truly. Even though we had Futera and stuff a lot earlier, I think those are probably the launching point.
Yeah, I see it at local shows, and I'm in the Midwest, and some smaller shows that I do. I hear people looking for F1. I mean, on a consistent basis, and it's like, wow, there's, there's a mad rush for F1 products, and people are just, there's not enough supply at the shows I'm attending. There's not enough supply to meet the demand that people are chasing the F1 products.
Where did you see this about the superfractors?
In an F1 group, I'll actually post a photo in the group chat here of the one that I saw. And then after that, if you go on my personal Facebook page, I started a thread because I'm actually going to start a tracker that tracks which ones have been found and how many have been found. But the very first one was the Sergio Perez, and then the Ferrari logo has been confirmed. And then there was one other one that I got on my personal profile that someone had showed me. I think it was a Max Verstappen car variation. And like Chris says, none of them were advertised as being serial numbered. Absolutely, Chris, I agree. It's just when you look at when you do the math and you do the odds of them, it comes out to right at 200, 202, 203 cards. So have we seen the 3 extras, or is it, is there a whole massive amount of superfractors? We don't know. But I did post a picture of it in the group chat. But it was in the F1 group where someone went to look for it. There's 2 listed right now, one for 14,000 and then one for like 13,999. You undercut them by about $1 with the same card. So, but yeah, it was just found out about the other day on eBay, and then a couple of people found the Ferrari and then another one. So just kind of hitting the social media rounds, I guess.
So we didn't talk about this, but I received an email today from Topps regarding supply chain issues. And This is regarding a Topps Now. And I thought I'm going to have to look at my order history because I thought I had received all my Topps Now cards that I've ordered recently. But it says, unfortunately, we're experiencing supply chain shortages with some of our paper stock, which is causing delays on your order. We anticipate that your card will be shipped by May 3rd. So, I found that we've heard a lot about supply chain shortages. I know Brian Gray from Leaf has talked about it in the past as well. So I found that interesting to receive that email from Topps, explaining the actual issue. And I don't know if Topps has actually come out and I know Upper Deck has had a lot of issues with their hockey releases, but I don't recall Topps actually coming in and releasing information like this.
I don't either, and I find it really interesting that it was like a day or two that you get this email a day after they literally put out a statement saying they want to put Topps Now cards out faster, and now we're hearing there's probably supply chain issues. I don't think they're going to be coming out it faster when you're having supply chain issues. But no, I hadn't heard anything. I mean, we all knew it was happening. I mean, I had talked to people that I know, people that work at Cardamundi, GCI, and all those places, and they talked about it and told me about it. And Rich Klein's talked about it on this show a lot. That's why Prism's going to be coming out when these guys are pretty much in training camp, you know, in terms of football, supply chain issues and things like that. But no, I don't remember hearing Topps, Panini, anybody actually mentioning supply chain issues. I think I just remember them pushing the products back farther and farther.
Right.
What about you, Suze? Had you heard anything about that?
I mean, in life, yeah. I mean, in general, not necessarily Topps, but like paper has been an issue. Like anytime we're trying to do anything that revolves paper, making a brochure, doing anything, schedules are longer and longer lead times. Like paper has been an issue. So it's not surprising at all that this is happening. I didn't get that email, but I don't think I ordered anything from Topps Now. That's recent.
No, I'm actually looking right now, and I actually did get that email today. I was wondering what I got a Topps Now email, and I was wondering why, because I didn't order anything. Now I see why. Interesting. So yeah, no, that's the first I've heard of it, but I think it's to be expected. I hope it doesn't last long. That's one thing I will say. I hope it doesn't last very long because, like those back pages says, 2021 Prism, man, it's not going to be out until those guys are hitting training camp. The new rookie class, forget the old one. And I mean, draft picks basketball, I'm doing it on this week's Let It Rip. That just came out for the class that's in the playoffs right now. So, I mean, it's really, really backed up right now for some sports. And I know Panini tried to double down last month on a lot of releases to catch up, and they did a good job, but it's still, it looks like it's coming down to really production problems and just lack of cardboard to even put the cards on. Let's see. Is there a macro site that keeps track? Let's see. DRS. Is there a macro site that keeps track of all the big cards that have been pulled? Not to my knowledge. I mean, you can look at places like Card Ladder and search in, certain terms. I think the easiest way to tell would be to really just search out the cards. But no, I don't know of a site that tracks actual sets and everything along those lines. I know I will be putting out a tracker. I'll have the link out this week that'll be tracking the Superfractors on the 70th at least to see which ones do have doubles. But no, I mean, I know we have some amazing people that do incredible work like Wax Museum, who keeps track of RPAs and stuff like that from basketball. And he keeps track of the ones that have swapped patches, and he shows you the before and after pictures. So Wax Museum is a great follow for high-end basketball, but in terms of just everything, like every National Treasures or Flawless basketball and football card, not to my knowledge. There's not a huge site. But yes, Hail Mary Kyle is absolutely wonderful. He's been on my show a couple times, and I'm sure a lot of people on Hobby Hotline shows a bunch. He's a great guy, wonderful for the hobby. But if you're interested in making sure, if you're going to purchase any high-end basketball, I would definitely check out his work to make sure your patch hasn't been altered or the auto hasn't been altered before buying it. But no, I haven't seen a website that does that. Do you guys know of one that keeps track of everything?
No, not everything. And I know, like on the Blowout forums, there are at least one guy that does like a super. I follow mainly baseball, so there's some people that track Superfractors within the Bowman products, and I don't know if any of them have like an actual website or if it's just posted in the online forums. But that's about the only thing that I recall seeing in any type of form, but nothing on a macro scale.
Yeah, me neither. So as you know as well. Yeah.
Same. Blowout forums have their trackers, but
yeah,
that's really it.
Yeah, they've got their forensic detectives that do some great work over there at Blowout. They'll find just about anything out that they want. That's for sure. But guys, we got a couple minutes left. Anything else you guys wanted to touch on today, or should we send everybody off home happy? It's been a pretty relatively slow week in the beginning of the hobby. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. And then this Sunday or Saturday, of course, at 11 a.m. as always, we will have the main version of Hobby Hotline. This week we've got a great lineup coming up Saturday, and then of course Hobby Hotline Overtime every single Tuesday. Let's see, make sure we didn't miss any of the chats. Yeah, see, it's Chris Harris posted the Superfractor odds on the 70th, and the Superfractor odds are literally like maybe 30 cards less in different. So they're right there at the exact same pretty much number. So
yeah, I looked it up in PSA just because you were showing 2 cards.
Yeah.
There's a number of them that have multiple like PSA grades. Like it's like there's with ones, but there's a number of them that have 2. And like there's always the account, okay, people crack it and then regrade it. But it definitely seems to be that there's at least 2 of some of these cards.
Well, thank you for looking that up and help me out. I was about to go to PSA tonight to take a look at that, and I know I'm gonna have to weed out a lot of the ones like you said. Kraken subs big on this because of all the issues from that plant, but we have confirmed quite a few that are real. So it is interesting, and it's going to be something to keep an eye on. It's definitely, we haven't seen any Lewis Hamiltons yet, so if they did it to all of them, there's a million more Lewis Hamilton Superfractors out there for everyone to chase. I do feel bad for some of the people that may have spent a lot of money on those 70s thinking they were 101s, only to find out now they're not. But, that's a risk you take.
Well, no, I mean, look, as somebody who, I worked at Topps, that. But, like, that's kind of trashy if they made more than one. And it's not
it is.
I mean, historically, they've always been one of one. And then to suddenly change that, it kind of feels like disingenuous. If for Topps, if this wasn't a mistake and they're like, yeah, let's just make a couple and throw them in like that. That's not right.
No, I completely agree. To take the Superfractor, like a legendary card, I mean, like gold vinyl, that spawned from the Superfractor changed the game. Superfractor changed the game, and to water that down, I agree. To water that down and to just use it as an excuse to throw that, that beautiful champagne look on it is like you said, disingenuous. So
yeah, I mean, one thing I've seen in the past is like when you have somebody new working on a product, wrongfully, but like they don't know the history. So there's times when like golds weren't all numbered to 50 because they didn't realize like, oh, the gold should be numbered to 50 because they didn't have that history and that prior knowledge. And nobody caught it. Like I've seen that happen, and it's like, they've done a better job in recent years of making sure like the parallels are consistent. So in this case, if they're not consistent, and to call, I don't care if you're calling it whatever color, doesn't matter. But if you use the term Superfractor with it, it comes with that idea that this is just a one of a kind.
And they did, and that's exactly, it was the 70th anniversary Superfractor. That's the exact wording on the box, and so that's where it's I hope it's just a mistake and that there's not 2 of every single one, because then that really doesn't seem like a mistake. Hopefully we get an answer. I know I've reached out to a couple of people. Hopefully get an answer real soon on that. But yeah, definitely not cool if it's put in there and they did that on purpose to get a couple extra in on the 70th. But anyways, guys, it is about that time, so we will wrap up this episode of Hobby Hotline Overtime. Once again, you can find us every Tuesday at 9 p.m. We're also available on all major podcast networks, so anytime you need to check us out. You can give us a listen if you can't watch us on YouTube and everything, on all podcast networks. And then, of course, every single Saturday at 11. But Suze, Bo, it's been a pleasure.
As always.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we will be back on Saturday. Till then, you guys have a good one. See you.